Welcome everyone. This to the course, these fundamentals of database. So the course is the continuation of our last lesson, which we have discussed basically about the basics of database. So before moving to our today's lesson, do you remember what we have seen last time? Okay, well, then we have seen the basics of database, specifically important terms that we can have in a database, like data, database itself, as well as database management system and applications. So those are from our last lesson, and today we will come to the file organization lessons, which are the continuation of our last lesson. So now we will see some of the important agendas in our today's lesson. Those are the methods of handling data. Since we are discussing a lot about this database, so we will have the way to handle these data, which are important resources that we can have. So those are some of the learning objectives in our today's lesson. So this lesson will have an objectives. So after completing this lesson, you will be able to understand what data management approaches are. As well, you will be able to understand the manual data handling system versus the database system. So we will see this in our today's lesson. So these methods of data handling have got around 3 levels. So the first level was the manual methods and the traditional file-based system, and the latest one which we can use nowadays are this database approach, which we can use different applications, softwares and tools that we can manage database with. That is the database approach. So we'll see them one by one. So when we see these manual methods, in early processing system, an organization's information was stored as a group of records in a separate file, like that we know in file counters or hard disks in a computer system, but they are not in the form of a database. So the access and things that we can make on the data are not as much suitable as that of the database. So this is what we call a manual methods. The other thing is the manual file system, which works well. We do have few numbers of data in our office or where we can operate the data. So the storage of smaller files and different types are possible by using this manual file system. The file-based system was developed in response to the needs of certain industries because they need to access their data somehow. So for efficient data access, we can use this file-based system. For such purpose, we can store our data in different file storage like hard disk, flash, memory disk, as well as which were the spreadsheet forms also. So those types of records were known as the manual methods of storing our data. So these types of storage do have certain drawbacks, unlike of that of the database. So whenever we are storing the data in our computer device or in a files, so there are repetitions of data, so it will bring us inconsistency in and redundancy of the data. So it is difficult to access the data anytime you want. So those are some of the drawbacks. Again, we also have as a drawback data isolations, because we can have multiple files and different formats on the same folder, on the same storage space. So data will be isolated. So this is also some of the problems you have with this manual file system. As well, we can have automaticity of updates. For example, whenever we are updating certain data somewhere else, and it will not be updated at all places at the same time. So this will bring atomicity of updates in our data. The other thing is concurrent access by multiple users are not possible while we are using these file systems, unlike of the database system. For example, when we see two people reading a balance, say 100, and updating it by withdrawing many 50 each at the same time. So the data should be updated by showing the latest updated balance. But whenever we are using this manual file system, it cannot do so. So this is concurrently access by multiple users will lead us to update problems. The other thing is it is less secure. The data that we can use or store in these manual file systems are less secure, so that we cannot have security whenever we are using this manual and traditional filing system. So all the problems that we have discussed here are not the problem for a database system. So the database systems have the solution for all this. So those are some of the important things that we need to see in this. The other thing is the database management system. So we have seen this already, but as you know, it will have so many benefits that we didn't discuss earlier. So this database management system was different from that of the manual and traditional file system, in that we can retrieve our data and we can generate different reports easily. So we can have a retrieval system by writing different queries and reports, so that we can have a better data access. The other thing is we can also modify or insert a new data. Even we can delete the data that we don't need to use. So there is also a mechanism for modifications of data while we are using these database applications. The other thing is for access also, whenever we are using this database management system, the accessing of the data through web applications is possible. We can link the data and the databases through web application, and we can access them through web-based system from our mobile, from our computers, laptop, tablets, whatever device we have. So the access is also possible by using these database management system facilities. And those are some of the benefits that we can have from database. So this database is having certain characteristics. So it is self-driving, describing natures. So when you say this, whenever we are creating a database, we can have certain descriptions that the data describes itself with. That is what we call metadata. For example, if we take a picture of an individual, so the description of that picture can be placed as a metadata of that picture. For example, the date we captured the picture, the time, the place, and so many things that describe the same picture that we know will describe the pictures in detail. So that is what we call metadata. So this natures of the database is it will show us how self-driving describing nature is have. Again, isolation between programs and the data. So they are already separated. Whatever we perform on data and the programs, they are separated. So this is also one of the characteristics of this database system. So the other thing is sharing of data and the multiple user transaction process. This is also one of the best characteristics of this database. So we can share data in multiple users can access data at the same time. As well, we can share our data. So we will use concurrent users to retrieve the forms and to update our database. So this will help us to manipulate the database in whenever we are, wherever we are. So those will help us just for having better access as well as better update on our databases. The other thing is concurrent control. So within a database system, it guarantees that each transaction is correctly executed or aborted. Unlike that of the traditional system, so we can update the data as the same way concurrently we can access the data. So this is some of the characteristics that we can have. The other thing is recovery. So our database might be deleted or somehow removed. So we can have a mechanism to recover our databases in such a way. The other important thing is we do have certain users of the database. So that's what we call actor on the scene. So those are actually people who control the database content, like database administrator, database designer. and the other people that we know are the users. So those are workers behind the scene. The others are end users, so who utilize the database and use its functionality, like for example banking mobile users, bank tellers, and social media users are what we call end users of the database. So they are classified as sophisticated user and primitive user. So the database users and other important things were discussed. So today we have seen a file system, drawback of this file system, and database systems, always as well as database users. So different actors are also seen. So this is enough for today. Until next time, hope see you next time. Goodbye. If you have any question, you can put it on the forum or whatever means you can communicate with. Thank you. Goodbye.